All right, there we go. We are officially live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris. This is my channel, We Love Comics, and I do want to apologize for the delay. For those of you that care, we're having some more issues with our cat Luna. We found out about a couple of weeks ago, well, a couple of days ago, actually, about a week ago, that she not only has her heart disease, but she has diabetes, and we're trying to take care of that, and she's having some bad effects with the medication that she has to take, so it took us a little delay. So I apologize, but I know those of you that care appreciate the update. So with that being said, I hope everybody's doing well. I want to always say hello to the people that get here early, and it gives people a chance to find out if this is live. I mean, I put a alert last night about this, but you know YouTube, they're not really famous for giving alerts all the time. But Harvey is first today. I'd like to say hello to Harvey. We got Mark G, we got Moon Knight, we got Tori. Oh, and all of a sudden it jumped. That's nice. We got Horror Breakdown, always good to see you. I have telepathy, is like 12th today. You slacking, what's going on, good sir? Luck E, always love that. He says, hey, hey, and then hey is for horses. RJ Taylor, Lee Smith, Michael P, Shadow Equinox, Gorilla Grodd, RJ Taylor, Ariel, Mightiest of the Mats. You better hope other Mats don't hear you say that. Michael Rodriguez, Mike, another Mike. We got Gun Guy Dave, John. We got Undead Mousy. We got some interesting names. We got Chris, Jerry, Mike, welcome. All right, well, let's get this started. Otherwise, I'll be reading names all day. And I'm sure as much as you guys appreciate that, you want to know about the books and not the YouTubers. But I always want to make sure if you get here early, the first couple of people I always want to say hello to. But also stick around until the end because I always do a surprise subscriber shout out. So, stick around, you might be that person. And I also want to let people know I'm going to be doing 2 videos today. I have some books from New Comic Book Wednesday because my Walking Dead books came in. So right off after this video, within like 5 minutes, I'll be doing another video. So if you're interested in that, stick around. I'll reset it and start up and again. And like I said, about 5 minutes after I finish the video. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around. All right, so I have 6 books. I think like 1 or 2 of them I've already talked about. Well, a couple of them I talked about, but it's been a while. And I want people to get these before it's too late. Because if you notice anything, especially about new books, once people catch on to something, they all latch on. And the books will go from semi-affordable to, oh my God, I got to mortgage my house. And you don't want to get to that point. So it's always trying to get these before the fact. Now, some of these I was telling people for years to get. And you're going to pay a lot more than back then, but they're still not at their fullest price points yet. So you still have time if you're one of those people that turns around and wants to flip them or, you know, whatever, you can do it and still make a profit. Now, obviously, if you're buying them just because you want to read them, it never matters about the price. So make sure you always ask for deals, wait for deals. Do not, right after this video, jump on YouTube or eBay or Amazon and just buy the first one you see because you're going to most likely overspend and you're going to regret that, especially if they don't pan out. Keep in mind when it comes to anything for speculation, there is always risk. You can have books that you spend money on not succeed. So if you're one of those people that's going to spend all of your money on something in hopes that it's going to succeed, you're going to fail more times than you will succeed. So that's why I always tell people, do your own research. Take my information and go from there. But remember, there's always risks involved. All right, so with that said, let's start out with the first book. This is definitely a book I've been telling people to get for a while. You could still find deals, and I did get that on this one. This is, number 1 is Shazam number 28. This is a book, if you've been watching my channel, you know I've talked about this a bunch of times. And this was back in 2016, 2017, I was telling people to get this book because of this character right here, Black Adam. Now, this is his second ever appearance. This is a Bronze Age book. You're going to probably pay around $100 and up for this book at this point. But the first appearance is in Marvel Family number 1 back in the Golden Age. A 0.5 is going to cost you around $1,500 to $2,000. Most people are not going to be able to afford that. So we know that The Rock, unless things change, is going to be playing Black Adam. And considering the Shazam movie did pretty decent, especially for a DC film, I mean, like I've said before, I don't want to see them fail, even though I'm more of a Marvel fan. They're going in the right direction. They still have a long way to go because their movies went from bad and unwatchable to getting decent. They're not great, but they're going in the right direction. So this is a book to pounce on if you haven't pounced on it already. Again, I've been telling people to get that book for a while. This is like my fourth, at least like fifth copy. I paid $62 for this one, and this is probably the most expensive that I've paid for that book. Another one, again, I was telling people for years to pick up. This is a good time to pick up this book because the announcement of this movie was months ago. And I always tell people with the new flavors of the month, people tend to forget other books, and that's the best time to pounce if you didn't get the book early. Now, this is another book I have at least 5 copies of. The most expensive I paid was this one, but this is Amazing Spider-Man number 101, which is the first appearance of Morbius, who as of now is still getting his own movie. Again, keep in mind, you can't guarantee it until it happens, and even if it does, it doesn't guarantee success because it may not be good. So again, you're taking chances, and that's why I always tell people, get these books early so you don't have to overpay. If it's a success, you're going to win. But if it isn't, and you paid too much for it, you're going to be kicking yourself. So again, this book is pretty expensive, but I don't think it's hit the peak because, like I said, with months going by, people have pretty much forgotten this book and are looking past it for other books. That might be a chance to snipe a steal. So I paid $90.25 for this book. Most of the books I paid around $45 for, but that's because I was buying them in 2016, 2017. Obviously, if you're new to the hobby or you missed this book, you're going to have to pay for that price. But you could still find deals. Just wait for them. Don't spend more than $110 on that book, $125. I mean, unless it's in higher grade. This is a book that has been definitely valuable for a long time, but for the fact that eventually this is going to be in the MCU, I have a feeling if they do a fan service moment, this would be an amazing scene, and if it ever happens, this book will skyrocket. This is Silver Surfer number 4. I have several copies of this book. Absolutely love this cover. I mean, just the pose between Thor and Silver Surfer alone. Now, there were rumors that this is a very rare book. I've seen conflicting things on that. But, you know, Silver Age books, I mean, especially in higher grade, they're going to be harder to get. This book is around probably about $150 range at this point for mid to lower grades. I always tell people low grade is better than no grade. But especially with Silver Surfer eventually going to be appearing in the MCU, any Silver Surfer books are going to be hot, but the keys are going to definitely be, you know, the more sought after. Now, there's no major significance. It is the cover alone that makes this book popular. This is a must-own, even if it doesn't succeed or doesn't happen in a movie, because it's just one of those iconic covers. And that's one of the things I love about Silver Age books. I mean, today's covers don't compare to stuff like this, in my opinion. It doesn't have to be overdrawn. It doesn't have to have 6 million things going on that makes it too loud. It's one of those less is more. Very simple but beautiful cover. This is definitely a book I highly recommend getting. All right, another one where time has passed and they haven't guaranteed this happening yet. It's kind of a rumor at this point, but if you know anything about Spider-Man, they've been gearing up towards this. And the good thing is, again, it's one of those situations where the announcements and the rumors were months ago, so people have started to forget about this book. That's the time to check it out. This is an absolute must, in my opinion, to get. This is Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 1. This is the first appearance of the Sinister Six. They've been gearing up towards that. Whether it happens or not, like I said, there are no guarantees, so keep that in mind. But, I mean, considering this is the first annual of Amazing Spider-Man, it's a Silver Age book, it's got the first appearance, not of any of the characters, but the fact that they turned into a group, it's definitely worth picking up. I paid $171.25 for this book. The cover is detached, so you can see this book is an expensive book, but it could be a lot worse, because if they do this in a movie, and I think they are gearing towards that eventually, these books are going to probably double and triple in price. So even though this book is going to be expensive, you haven't seen the peak. So this is a book, if you haven't had the chance to pick it up, try and get it. It's a very thick book, so keep that in mind. You want to make sure you can see the edge completely straight. If you could see the edge from the front, that means it's been squished, and a pressing probably will not help that. I would stay away from those unless the price is so affordable or it's the only one that you can afford. But make sure with the thicker books that you don't see the edge of the book from the front. Try and stay away from those if you can. All right, another book that I've been talking about for a long time. This was a book you could have paid under $60 for. You're probably going to spend at least $100 or more, but still has not reached its potential. So if yesterday was the first day you decided to get into comics or get back into comics, it doesn't matter what the prices were 5 months ago or 5 years ago, because if you weren't in the hobby, you can't do anything about that. And I want to say really quick, Herbert did a super chat. I think that's euros. So thank you. That's really nice of you for that. And anybody ever does a super chat, I want to make sure I pause and instantly give them the credit they deserve. So thank you. I always appreciate that. This is a book I've been telling people about. Get this book as soon as you can. This is Submariner #1. Now, this isn't his first appearance, and it's not his first Silver Age appearance. But the first Silver Age appearance is Fantastic Four #4. That's one of my white whales. I can't seem to get that book. I'm still waiting, but it keeps slipping because that's a very expensive book. And because of that, most people are not going to be able to afford it. You're talking, his first appearance is Golden Age. You're talking thousands of dollars. Most people are not going to be able to afford that. So this is going to be the next best thing, because this is his first Silver Age book, and it's a #1 issue. Now this might be a minor spoiler for Endgame. It's not anything where you really need to shut off and not listen to, because it's not anything that's confirmed, and it won't ruin the movie at all, but I did want to mention that just in case. There's a scene in Endgame where they're just casually talking, and they say there was a tremor underneath Wakanda, where they say there is an underground ocean. And they basically say, well, what are you going to do about that? And they say, well, we're going to not do anything about it. Well, the rumor that's going around is, if you know anything about the history of the Submariner, because he's been an anti-hero and he's been a villain at certain times, he had some interesting times with Black Panther and Wakanda. So they're thinking, the rumor is that was an Easter egg for the coming of Submariner. Because what purpose? The one thing about Marvel you notice, they don't put things in movies without a specific reason. So you and I might think, that's just something that doesn't mean anything. But that could let you know that they're preparing for a future with the Submariner and with Black Panther. So does he show up in the next Black Panther movie? Who knows? But if he does, what do you think's going to happen to this book? Do you think it's going to stay the same price? Do you think it's going to go down? Or do you think the price is going to double? I mean, if you get a brand new comic that's supposed to be for $3.99, selling for $30 or $40 before it comes out on the newsstand, what do you think's going to happen to Silver Age classics like this? I paid $61 for this book. I have several copies. I probably have 7 copies of this book. I have been buying these in preparation years before, because when you research and you pay attention, you kind of have an idea of where things are headed. And again, if you're taking a chance and it doesn't happen, better to spend less money than more money. So this is an absolute must-have in my opinion. I mean, if you can afford Fantastic Four #4, get it, but you're talking a 0.5 I see on eBay for like $800-900. It's ridiculous. I'm not going to pay that. Even though I want that book, I'm not going to overspend, so I'm not going to let emotion affect my purchasing. And you shouldn't either, because you'll regret it. So I'm biding my time. If I miss out, hey, you know what? Sometimes you don't win them all. All right. Now, I'm going to show the number one book that I absolutely think you should get. Now, this isn't the Hulk 180s or 181s or anything like that, or Fantastic Four 48s, because I've talked about that, and I have other videos. If you want to see others that I have of these, please check them out. And before I show this, don't forget to stay until the end, because I do today's surprise subscriber shout out with one of you that is in the chat room right now. I am going to be doing another video about 2 minutes after this one is done, because I'm going to talk about some of the new books that came out today. So if you're interested in that, stick around after that. And Reggie, always good to see you. Nice enough for him to say thumbs up. I appreciate that. Anybody that wants to do that means a lot to me, shows your support. So if you like what I do, give that thumbs up. So this is the number one issue that I think you should be getting right now that is pretty affordable at this point. I wanted to kind of get books that were not going to cost you $1,000 or something. Most of these books you can get for $250 and under. So this is Silver Surfer number 1. Now, obviously, the first appearance of Silver Surfer is Fantastic Four number 48. His second appearance is in 49. Those are two great books, but they're getting expensive. And like I said, I've had other videos about that book. This book is going to be the next best thing when people cannot afford to get those books. Number one issues. I mean, look what happened with Iron Man number 1. When he ends up being in a movie, and there is no way Marvel is not going to use this character, especially since they already said Phase 4 is going to be more space-oriented. This is a no-brainer to me at this point. I paid $80 for this book. Like I said, I bought these years ago. I have probably 3 or 4 copies of this book. When he ends up in a movie, again, I will say this to you. If Silver Surfer ends up in a Marvel movie, even if they show him in a movie, let's say Guardians of the Galaxy 3, let's say he's not in the movie, but at the last minute, at the end credit scene, all of a sudden you see Silver Surfer just shoot by, and they end the movie. Do you think this book is going to stay the same price, lower, or double? Think about it. People tend to overreact these days. They use emotion, and they basically climb aboard a train and do what everybody else does. You want to be the person that gets on the train before anybody else so you can get the best seat. You don't want to be the person that's there last minute and has to hang on to the rails on the back, freezing to death, jumping on top, maybe falling off, or missing the train completely. So this book is probably going to cost you about $200 to $225 at this point. It is still worth it. I mean, obviously, you don't want to overpay, so you have to do your own research. You have to find out what people are paying for this book right now. You have to look at price guides to be able to check and see what the current prices are. You go on eBay and see the sold prices. Do your research. If you just say, all right, Chris showed this book, I'm going to go on eBay, the first one I see, buy it now. Well, if you overpay, that's not my fault, that's your fault. So make sure you do the work. Ask for deals. The worst that somebody can say is no. If you watch my videos, even the one I did yesterday, I made a deal on a book that did not even have a best offer. So sometimes you got to make things happen, but be nice about it. And if they say no, say thank you for responding. I wish you well. I've done that, and I had 2 people come back and say, you know what? I will give you the book for that price. It never hurts to be kind, but be genuine. So those are the 5 books. Or 6 books. Silver Surfer number 1. Definitely pick it up. Submariner number 1. Definitely pick that up. Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 1. Definitely pick that up. Silver Surfer number 4. That's your opinion if you think that one's worth getting. Again, not any major significance, but if they ever show this, I mean, look what happened. Well, I won't say, but look what happened to a certain Thor book recently. I won't say why, because some people may not have seen the movie yet. And look how much that book is going for. But this, because it's Silver Age and it's a rarer book, it's going to be worth more long term. Amazing Spider-Man 101, First Morbius. Again, going to be expensive at this point, but definitely not out of the realm. Keep in mind, this one's the most riskiest because of the fact of, Sony sometimes hit or miss. If it's a bad movie, this book is going to go down, even though it's still a good character to own. And then last but not least, again, you're going to pay a lot more than you would have a couple of years ago, but it doesn't matter if you just started yesterday. Shazam number 28, the second appearance of Black Adam, first appearance since the Golden Age. I mean, hey, if you can afford Marvel Family #1, God bless you, but a 0.5 of that book is probably going to cost you about $1,500. And if I'm going to spend that kind of money, I'm not getting a 0.5 for something like that. All right, so those are the books. Let's do today's surprise subscriber shout out. In about another 2 or 3 minutes, I'm going to make my second video about the must-have comics for that came out today. So if you're interested in that, stick around. If you want to share these, it always helps. Let other people in the YouTube community learn about these books, especially newer people. So if you share my video, it helps out. Today, we are going to do today's surprise subscriber shout out. We're going to go with Undead Mousy. He says, as soon as I walked out of the cinema, I was on my phone buying this book. Most people do that, and that's why you'll pay through the nose for it. That's a book that I would say is definitely not going to be worth much in another 6 months. Hopefully you did not overspend. I made a video about that, kind of warning people about it. I mean, I would not have paid more than $10 for that book. Unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of people that used emotion and bought that book that because it has no major significance, I mean, it's not an origin, it's not a first appearance, it's just a situation that happens in one particular movie. What do you think's going to happen 6 months from now when other movies are coming out and that scene no longer ever applies ever again? Do you think that book is going to stay the same, go up, or go down? So a lot of people that bought that book, if you spent more than $20 on that book, in my opinion, I have a feeling that you're going to be very disappointed in 6 months. And a couple people listened to my advice that already had that book, like they maybe spent $2 or $3 on it. They sold it. One person, and I won't mention their name unless they want to say it, they sold it. It sold for $127. And they sent me a message thanking me for that. And I said, dude, in about 6 months, you'll be able to buy that book back for like under $20. If anything, he's not going to spend $127 on it in 6 months from now. So that book, if you sold that book, you will never get more money for that book than you did because of the situation that happened. And John says it well. That Thor issue was an emotional buy. I tried to warn people, but most people, they want to stick with emotion, and they tend to be more upset than they ever are happy. So unfortunately, some people have to learn the hard way. But if you learn, it doesn't happen again. Unfortunately, most people have it happen over and over again, and they blame everybody other than themselves. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you're responsible for not only what you do, but what you don't do. So keep that in mind. Don't point fingers at other people. No one forces you to do something, even if they recommended it, suggested it, or everybody says it's a must-have. You make the final decision, so be responsible. All right, guys, let me shut this video off. I did today's surprise subscriber shout-out. I'm going to look at how many of you awesome people left a thumbs up. If you are one of my power viewers, when this uploads, I want you to tell everybody in the comment section what you see here. Just write, it's a black and white polka dotted card. So if you watched this in its complete, just mention that you're a power viewer. Show people that you appreciate it. So let me end this video. I keep saying that and I keep talking. That's the Italian in me and the New Yorker in me. And stick around because in about another 3 or 4 minutes, I'll have the second video of the must-have comics that came out today. So thanks for watching. Travis, what did you miss? You missed everything. But the good thing is you could rewatch it when it uploads. Thanks for watching. And don't forget, it's not you, it's not I, it's We Love Comics. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you in about 2 minutes.